Hey everyone, my name is Brandon Turkis, and I am here with the 2017 Chevrolet SS. This is a vehicle that in all of my years doing this job, I've never had the chance to drive. I've never driven any of GM's Australian imports, not the GTO, not the G8. And with the SS going out of production, I figured now is kind of my last shot at it. So we're going to be here for about the next 15 minutes and taking a look at it. Send me your questions. I will do my best to answer them. But for now, let's take a look at the car. So this color is called Sunburst Orange Burst. I'm sorry. And I gotta say, I wasn't a big fan of the whole copper orange car craze when it was going on back in the day, but it really, really works well on the SS. There's a lot of metal flake in here. You can get up. It's a nice sunny day, which is rare in Michigan, so you can get up and take a look. Really, really nice color to it. Pan around to the back. Yeah, I definitely wasn't sure about the orange when I first saw that this was the one that I was getting. It doesn't look that great on the GM consumer or on the Chevy consumer site. It's a little bit tangerine-y and just not all that nice, but out in the sun, it's absolutely gorgeous. I just got the car washed last night, so it looks really, really good sitting out here in the sunshine. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed driving this thing around for the last week. It's gotten a ton of looks. If you follow me on Twitter, at Brandon Turkis, you'll know I got a thumbs up from a guy that had truck nuts hanging from the back of his Chevy Silverado. So, you know, there's definitely a group of people that really like the way this car looks. But more than the way it looks, people are going to like the way that it goes. And I'm going to pop the hood and show you why. See if we can find the latch. There we go. And there's the heart of things. It is GM's 6.2 liter V8. Now, this is not the same 6.2, or at least not the same output as you get in a Camaro or a Corvette today. This one has 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque, which, well, you might complain that it doesn't have the 455 or whatever it is in the Corvette, is plenty for a 3,900 pound car. This thing goes really, really well. It is always powerful. It always looks or has a great feel from the pedal, but it also sounds amazing too. I'm going to fire it up right now. Now, all G8s, or G8s, thank you, Joel. It's nice to see you too. All SSs have a dual mode exhaust standard, so hopefully you're gonna hear a little bit of that as we're idling. So let's start it up, push the clutch in. So it's a little bit quiet on idle, but it pops and burbles. So let's see if we can get a little bit of that as I give it some revs. This thing burbles a lot. If you're on overrun, if you let off the gas at a high RPM, it just cackles and pops and draws as much attention to itself as possible. So, yeah, that's fun. It's a lot of fun. But part of what makes it so much fun is not just the power, it's the way that you deploy it, and that's where this little guy comes in. Let me see if I can pan down with my Osmo here. That is a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission. Yes, this car has a manual. It's, in my humble opinion, the only way to fly. I'm going to shut the hood right now. Whoop. There I am. There we go. So the 6-speed stick is really the only way to fly in this. You can get an automatic, but it's not nearly as much fun. And part of that is because of what's inherently good about manual transmissions. This thing, you always have control of what's going on. The clutch uptick for such a big car is really, really light, really easy to manage. It's very simple to modulate. You can dial in just as much clutch as you need. The shifter, I'm actually going to climb back in so you don't have to look at my ugly face, and it can show you the action on the shifter in here. switch hands here real quick. So there's a really nice weight at the top of the shifter. Gabrielle, it's 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. There's a really nice weight to the shifter. It's all at the top, right in the ball of the shifter where you want it to be. And as you see, I can run through the gears. The throw is just right. That was actually reverse. The throw is just right. It is a little bit notchy, especially when you're going along. It's a little bit tough to get into the gate, so you can't be afraid to kind of strong arm it a little. But it's a hell of a lot of fun. It feels kind of ridiculous in a car that's this big to be working with a manual transmission, but it's the way you want to do this. I appreciate people that get the automatic SS, but the manual is really the way to go. It's a riot. Shut the door real quick so I can enjoy the AC on this warm day. One of the other things that comes standard on the SS is this little knob right here, and this is the mode select, as it says on there. I'm not sure if you can see it from the camera. This controls the SS's 3 driving modes. There's a Tour, Sport, and Performance. As you might have been able to hear, I just switched to Tour mode. I've been driving around almost exclusively in Performance, and it's a lot of fun. But Tour, it hushed up the exhaust. Let me switch back. Let's see if you can actually hear that. That's Sport, so it just got a little bit louder. So it's between Sport and Tour, kind of opens up the exhaust and gives you a nicer sound. It also displays in here. I'm going to try and show you in the instrument cluster. And if you look at the top right, it might be a little bit too sunny. So let me putter around and see if we can get the shade and make that a little bit easier for you to see. There we go. So you can see right in the top right corner, there's a little car icon and it says Tour. We just pan through there. There's Sport, Performance, and what this does is, what these different modes do is they adjust throttle response and obviously how the exhaust opens up, but they also adjust the standard magnetic ride control system. And if you've driven any GM Performance vehicles, you're going to be familiar with MRC. It's a really great system that uses, and I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly, magneto-irrological dampers to adjust the suspension firmness. So let's pan around so I can actually look at you and explain this. And we'll back up so we have a little bit better lighting. There we go. So the dampers are really, really good. GM has used these they're in the Camaro, they're in the Cadillac V-Series cars, they're in the Corvette, and they've used MR for years and years and years, and it only gets better. And in this car, in the SS, you have 3 different modes. So you have the Tour, which is the softest setting, you have Sport, and then you have Performance, which is the firmest setting. Now, even though Detroit has generally terrible, terrible roads, I've spent most of my time in Performance. The differentiation between the 3 different settings isn't that great. You definitely get a little bit more firmness and body motion, but the SS feels so much more composed when you go around turns. It's really a subtle difference when you're just cruising down the road, but in the bends you can really, really feel how much more composed and firm and capable the SS is around the turns. Also, it makes the exhaust sound nice, and I kind of enjoy that sort of thing. Now, getting away from the performance aspect, I want to show you around this cabin, because there are a few ways to tell that this is not your typical American Chevrolet cabin, and that's not a mark against what Chevy is doing today in the U.S. so much as it's a sign of how good the company can really be. So one of my favorite things about the SS is, let's pan the camera around, you have all the suede trim. Oop, swing it back the other way. Hello. You have this really, really nice suede trim, and it's on the dash, which you don't see that very often. Alcantara on the dash, and it's over here on the doors, and it's even on the seats in little patches, and it feels fantastic. It feels super, super high quality, but it's not the only element in the car that feels that good. Look at these metal aspects. These feel like real metal. I honestly, I don't know whether they're plastic or metal. You get into it and they feel cold to the touch, which says to me metal. You kind of clack on them, but they feel a little plasticky. But the fact that I can't really tell the difference is a testament to just how nice it feels. There are some things I don't like, though. I'm not a big fan of this steering wheel, and I'm going to get out so you can get a better look at it. It feels huge. It feels really, really big. Kind of like a helm on an old frigate. I wouldn't mind something a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable, but it's got the right thickness to it, and it's finished in a really nice leather. And fortunately, it is set up in such a way that you can really get into a position that you like for driving. You can drop it right in your lap, which is what I like. I'm also not a big fan of these seats, though. So let's pan out over here. Now, these seats, they have plenty of adjustability to them, but they're kind of flat and kind of wide. And if you've driven in, say, a Charger SRT8, which is kind of what the car that this competes with, you're going to have much nicer bolstering. It looks good, but it's just too wide and too flat, both on the bottom cushion and on the backrest, even though they look absolutely outstanding. Let's hop in the back and actually do some consumer-typey stuff. So I'm 6'1", about 250 pounds. I have the seat set in my driving position right now. So I'm going to hop in the back. So I banged the Osmo on the door. And as you can see, let's shut the door. I have plenty of leg room. My knees are not touching the backrest at all. You can see right there, I've got some space. I've got plenty of headroom. Let's pan around so you can see that I am not bumping my head. That's really good. This is a proper 4-place vehicle. And hello from Azerbaijan. Good to see you here. This is a proper 4-place vehicle. You can use this as a family sedan. It's as absurd as it sounds. You could definitely fit, I know our own Joel Fader will be worried about this. You can definitely fit some car seats back here. I haven't tried it personally, but I know you can. Just looking at it, there's plenty of space. I'm really impressed by how much headroom there is, because for taller guys like me, these kind of sedans, they don't really work in the back seat. It's part of the reason that we like crossovers, is that we tend to always have headspace. But ingress and egress is great. Hey, Matt from Corpus Christi. And yeah, I could easily do a long road trip back here, even though I'd rather be up in front. The other thing that makes this pretty appealing as a family sedan is this trunk is huge. Oop. Our Osmo is not cooperating today, as you might be able to tell. Plenty of space. I know the lighting isn't great. Let me see if I can get in here and show you. I'm about halfway in the trunk right now, and there's plenty of room. You can also kind of just hear that nice, pleasant idle from the exhaust. But you know, the most frustrating thing I have to say about the SS is that, there you go, you can look at me now. The most frustrating thing about the SS is the fact that it's so good and it's going to be going away. This is a really, really brilliant car. Let's get the light a little bit better. This is a really excellent car that deserves to do a little bit better. I'm really disappointed that GM is getting rid of it and that our friends from Down Under are no longer going to be building it. It's a phenomenal car. I kind of want one, to be entirely honest. It's really not my type of vehicle, but it's an absolute riot to drive. It's versatile, it's fun, it looks fantastic, as you can see it sitting there behind me. And if you're one of those people that's in the market for one, get out and try it now. Like, pick one up. This one that I'm driving is about $49,000. And yes, that's steep for what you're getting, but there aren't a lot of sedans that have this kind of performance without getting into some really expensive vehicles. So if you're in the market, this is definitely something that's worth considering. It's not going to be around for long. If you want proper 4-seat versatility in a vehicle that feels like it has a lot of Corvette and a lot of Camaro in it, this is the only way to go. I'm Brandon Turkis with Motor Authority. Have a great day.